Hello dear pilots, how are you? I'm very glad to welcome you in another video. This time, I'm flying from Aguascalientes, which is in the center part of Mexico. You can look it on the map. The airport code is Mike Alpha Sierra. And I'm bound to Del Norte International, which is north of Mexico. Airport code is Mike Alpha November. I'm sorry, that's my home base airport. As you can tell, Mexico has a mountainous terrain around. It has flat land on the northeast, and we have a lot of different terrain in Mexico. However, on the center part of Mexico, which is here, you will find elevations from about 4,000 to 6,000 feet. A little bit southern from here, southeast in Mexico City, it will go up to 7,000 to 8,300 feet in Toluca, which is the highest elevation airport in Mexico. The thing is, as you can tell, here, being the elevation so high, the airways will have an MEA, which is going to be high enough, to keep us away from the terrain. As you can imagine, because of that, from here, I would say from Zacatecas, which is a little bit north of Aguascalientes, and north, it's going to be between 6,000 feet, the MEAs. So, can you guess which airplane am I flying in right now? Yes, it's a Baron. It's a Beechcraft Baron. This one is not pressurized. I want to have this window. If the Baron would be pressurized, or at least a different window, right? The MEAs here at 6,000 wouldn't let me breathe at that altitude, right? Do you remember the oxygen requirements for pilots and passengers? Let's review them. So about 12,500 feet, not more than 30 minutes, you're good. You can go 13,000 or 13,500, be there 30 minutes, and then go back to 12,500, and you're good. And if you go to 14,000, you need to use oxygen all the time. Passengers must have oxygen available. You can offer them. They do not have to use the oxygen. However, going to 15,000 feet, everyone has to use oxygen. At 6,000, we would need oxygen. So, I don't want to go all the way up there. I want to stay lower. So, how we can do that? I'll explain you how you can do this in Mexico. Okay, so I want to show you here on the ForeFlight how I manage my flight between Aguascalientes, which is right there, and Del Norte, which is right there. If you want to see the whole route, it's going to be like that. Okay, good. So, first of all, we will do a quick analysis here. There's Aguascalientes Airport, there's the VFR, and we have here some airways. There's J13, oh, I'm sorry, we have high airways, so I'm going to say low. There you go. So we have Victory 27 here, which is an MEA of 1,000, that's fine. And if you double check here, we don't have many options to go north to Monterrey del Norte, right? So we can go either to San Luis Potosí, which is here on the right, or left to Zacatecas. I choose to go this way, Zacatecas. If I continue via Zacatecas on this airway, which is the Victor 26, the MEA is going to be 12,000. Well, I can still fly that. However, the true course for that is eastern course, right? So we gotta fly that at 3,000 feet. I need oxygen. So this if I'm flying north to south, won't be a problem. I can fly 2,000, but flying north, I need 3,000. So that won't work. Now we have Concepcion VOR, which is right there. Let me try to. There you go. So navigation here. There's CDR, which is Concepcion. After that, look at the minimum en route altitude. It's going to be 14,000. And if I'm going to go to Monterey, it's going to be 16,000. So those MEAs won't work for me. I cannot fly them because I don't have oxygen. Well, I do have oxygen on the aircraft, but I don't want to use it, right? So the thing is this. Whenever you depart VFR, we in Mexico, we have Delta airspace, which I'm going to highlight here. You see it? So all this airspace, let me go a little bit farther. This airspace, which is Leon Aguascalientes terminal area, is Class D. It will go from the surface to flight level Y95. Right. So, for Class D, we don't have any separation provided for VFR traffic. However, we do for IFR traffic. So, what I recommend you is to always depart IFR and get a clearance limit. For example, I got a clearance limit to Tetsi, right there. So I depart from Aguascalientes. There's a standard instrument departure, which is Tetsi 3. You can see here the route. And I will end up in Tetsi. So my clearance limit is going to be Tetsi. After Tetsi, I'm going to fly BFR, which that's my current position. See, I'm flying currently BFR. And you will see a little bit right off the route because I was cleared a little bit before Tetsi, direct Saltillo. I have a very good friend controllers, they know me, and you know. So I'm going to fly BFR all the way to Saltillo. Saltillo, I'm going to change rules to IFR, and I'm going to use Victor 17. Let me try to get it right. Whoa. No, it's gotta be, because the route is there. Let me put this somewhere there. There you go. So Victor 10, the MEA is 12,000, right? So that still will put me in 13,000 feet. However, the distance between Saltillo and Monterey, which is we can measure here with a ruler, is about 44 miles, right? So if we are flying about 180 knots, 44 miles, it's going to be less than 30 minutes, right? So I'm good. I can go up to 13,000, and actually I'm going to start my descent a little bit before, so that will be even less than 30 minutes flying at 13,000, so that's fine. So my recommendation is to always depart IFR from an airport like this. Change your rules, BFR, go to wherever you can switch to IFR, in this case Saltillo. And I'm choosing Saltillo here because in Saltillo, you're going to have all these peaks. I'm going to highlight them, right? So all these peaks, that's the Eastern Sierra Madre. And we can have elevation here all the way to 14,000 feet. You will need to file, or you can actually file this in a flight plan. It's not difficult, but I show you how to do it, okay? So let me do a new flight so you can actually know how to do it. So I'm going to choose Mike, there it is, Aguascalientes. And my destination is going to be Del Norte International, Mike Alpha November. I'm going to choose an alternate, just in case. Saltillo Airport, what do you think about it? Good, right? There it is. So my ETD, let's say 14, 15, that's fine. I'm going to select my aircraft. Today I'm flying 311 Charlie Hotel. And I'm going to put the route here. And this is the main point that you must enter correct on the flight plan. And you got to be very careful here. So I'll try to explain all the parts here. So you can actually do two ways. I always prefer the way more specific with a departure, but this is going to be one way for the route. So we discussed about flying an airway, which is going to be the Victor 27. And I'm not going to go all the way to Zacatecas, but I will end the route at Tetsi, right? Tetsi, we're going to change the flight rules, and you're going to specify that on the flight plan. So I'm going to go and put ahead and put a slash. I need to put my my airspace 0190, okay? And I need to specify my altitude, my next altitude, which is going to be a VFR altitude. I'm going to use 1,500 feet, okay? And then I'm going to use VFR, which is, I'm switching from IFR to VFR. Good. Now, what is going to be the next point where where I want to start or change to IFR again? So that's going to be Saltillo, right? I need to specify another time my speed and altitude. So, November, which is knots, 0190, and I want to change the altitude, 13,000. It's going to be an IFR altitude. I need to specify IFR, and then I'm going to use Victor 102 Mike Tango Yankee, direct to Alpha Delta November, which is the nearest VOR. So that's one way, which is one way I like it. Then the other way is that you can use the departure itself, you know, the departing runway, in the route, and that's also correct. The Mexican ATC system will interpret that correctly, and it will be able to send the flight like that. Also, there's another way. You can use an arrival here. So if you don't want to use because there's in Monterrey del Norte we have an arrival, a star that starts at Saltillo. It's Saltillo 1 Delta, I guess. There it is, right? So if you see, look after Saltillo, which is that, it will put you all the waypoints to Del Norte. So this is also correct. However, Saltillo 1 Delta needs some higher altitudes, so I'm not going to be able on this aircraft to execute that arrival. So specifically for me this time, I'm going to use the Victor Airway, Monterey, then Roberto, AD MBR. Good. So now you know how to correctly code the route, and this is going to be very specific. You can't, you need to look out for spaces. You cannot do that, so be very careful and put all the spaces. Also, after the slash, you cannot do that because, you know, see that? The system will interpret as an error and will tell you, right? Also the AT system. So this is fine. Now the initial altitude, you always need to put the initial altitude on the flight plan. That's a rule. So initially I'm going to go to 1,000. Fine. Okay, after that I'm going to change to 11,500 and then 13,000 at Saltillo. Perfect. Now, if I want to file this flight plan, let me tell you how to do it. So it's an ICAO flight rules. It's gonna be this one, Yankee. Okay, and Yankee states that I'm gonna depart IFR, and then I'm gonna switch to VFR. However, I'm gonna change flight rules again to IFR. So that doesn't matter. The only thing you want to do is to specify that you're going IFR and then switching to VFR. You can then switch to IFR and then VFR and as many times you want. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you put the first thing, which is IFR and then VFR. So that's going to be Yankee. So Yankee, G, 301 Charlie Hotel, 190 knots, one aircraft, airport, Aguas Calientes, that's the time, it's one on board. And look at the route. The route, it uses the route I put before, so that's fine. the altitude, remember initial altitude 11,000, which is the IFR altitude. Then we're going to switch to 11,500. Good. So time en route, the system, the application for flight, automatically calculates that. So it's going to be 1 hour and 38 minutes. I have fuel on board for not 5 hours, but 4 hours and 30 minutes. I'm not full. Other information, well, that's up to your aircraft. I've used Performance Bravo, and that's it, because my approach speed is between 91 knots and 120. Airport destination, Airport del Norte, alternate airport Saltillo, it's there. That's it. I will have just ELT, which is specified there, and the other information. So there it is. You can file the flight plan. I cannot right now because I don't have internet. But that's it. Okay. I strongly recommend this, that you depart IFR. Even though the weather is pretty, you can always do this, depart IFR, and then switch to VFR, and then come back and change to IFR. You can do that everywhere. So, for example, Potosi, it also has a terminal area. There it is. It's highlighted there. So you can depart IFR and then switch to VFR, and then IFR again to whatever, right? So, and the main point here is because you won't have any separation provided on Class D airspace, which is all the terminal areas. Aguas Calientes Class D, Guadalajara is Class D, all the TMAs, Puerto Vallarta is Class D, all the TMAs in Mexico are Class D, and they won't provide separation VFR traffic, even with another IFR traffic. They will provide you information, but they won't separate you. Okay, so I'm sorry if this video was a little bit long with the explanation, but I wanted you to have all the criteria and all the knowledge specifically to do all these flights in inland Mexico. It's very important for you pilots to understand very clearly all the Mexican ATC airspace designation and classification. It's a little bit more complex than any other countries because it's non-standard like maybe the USA or Europe. But anyways, if you understand the system, it will help you a lot, right? So you won't have any conflicts with ATC, and you will be flying more safe. Pilots, remember to subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading more videos, I promise that. And also remember to visit my Instagram profile, where I have a lot of pictures, and you can follow up on my daily flights as well. So if you have any comments, any questions, you can leave them on the comment section here. I'll try to respond. You can always email me anytime that you want. And remember, always fly safe and happy landings.